Okay. Fantastic. Well, good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Well, hello. A little different than meeting during the day, huh? Some night entertainment.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, Ron. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Well, hello, Miss Linda.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And Nancy, we know you're there, and I can't see you, but thanks for joining in. So it's not quite 7, so I'm going to wait a few minutes because we've got several people that said they were coming on. And for this program this evening, we will be going ahead and asking you to go ahead and put your mute on so that we can specifically focus on Neil. But I'm very excited. This is very different than what we've had thus far. Let's see. And this is fantastic. It's much better than watching TV, that's for sure.
Really?
Just you wait, Miss Linda.
I love TV.
Well, you're going to be laughing with a bunch of other people, which is going to make it even better. That's the key thing. Okay?
Okay.
And I feel like we're going to be traveling a little bit because with his voice, I think that's going to bring us to another world. No pressure there, Neil.
Can they see me yet? No, huh?
Yes, so we are going to make sure that everybody's got speaker view so that they can see you. Yeah. And once everybody, I'm going to wait a few minutes and then I'll give everybody direction to put it on speaker view. Great view, Gretchen. Oh, I love it.
Hey guys. Hey Dawn.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So this is definitely you're now at home and no more work, right, Christian?
No more work.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
home and wine.
There we go. There we go. Much deserved, right?
Much deserved.
That's it. That's it. Well, I am going to ask everybody to go ahead and put it on speaker view so that we can really focus on Neil tonight because I'm very excited about, I dare I say it's a performance because it is.
Hi.
And I think,
Hi.
hello.
What is that?
Oh, see, this is the youngest person you've performed
Absolutely.
now, Neil. This is a
It's fun.
yeah, this is fantastic. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody. Andy
Hey.
knows how to wave. She knows how to wave. How fantastic! Family-friendly show. That's what I tried to tell everybody. It's a family-friendly show for all ages, literally. Oh, hey, cutie pie. Okay, so I'm going to ask everybody, instead of having me mute you, if everybody could go ahead and do the mute button. So Linda, if you can have Bill help you do the mute button, so that we'll all be focused on Neil, and that way I can go ahead and introduce him. All right, and we'll go ahead and have the speaker view. So I am very excited to introduce Neil, who is a British voice actor, who over the last 10 years since he retired has visited not only many senior care communities, but hospitals and schools and churches to share with all those people his passion for joy, love, humor, and inspiration through what he calls expressive reading from a broad range of material using many different voices and accents. So I think this is the perfect time, Neil, because you're going to take us far, far away, and I truly appreciate it. So no pressure, but now it's you.
Thank you. Well, welcome everybody. It's a great pleasure to be doing this for you. I really appreciate everything that Jerry and Dawn have done to get me in here. I'd like to tell you a little bit about where I'm from and how I got to do what you will find a little bit later. You will at least smile, and if you don't laugh, I'll go on mute. No, not really. I'm just kidding. My My name is Neil Scott-Barbour, and I was born in the north of England in a place called Leeds, Yorkshire, in May 12, 1942. So I just turned 78, feeling like a 58-year-old, particularly when I can perform for folks like you. So here's what happened in my, it's not too long a story, but it'll show you how I get to do what I do now, which is really a gift, I think, that I've been given. So when I was growing up, I was in school doing all the athletic things that you do when you're 7, 8, 9, 10. I was paralyzed with polio down the right side of my body for 6 months. So just had to lay in bed there, and people came to see me, and my dad used to read to me, and maybe that's got something to do with everything. And I began to get better. I was a little bit of a sickly kid one way and another. And because I was so sickly, and I was very bullied at school when I'd gone back to school at age 12. And I was very inferiority complex, you know, I was kind of shamed and so forth. And I just felt really bad. My dad came to me one day and he said in his broad Yorkshire accent, which is what I used to have, "Hey lad, how about I take you to pictures every Sunday morning, and then as well as that, I'll take you to drama school and you can learn to act, lad." That's what he did. Every second Saturday, I would go to a drama school and learned, of course, how to speak what we now call the Queen's English, or BBC English. And during my school years, growing up in teenage years, I played many, many Shakespearean, particularly Shakespearean parts. Got to the age of 19, moved to London, and I was determined that I was going to become a famous film star or actor, but Anthony Hopkins beat me to it. What are you going to do? And he earned a lot more money than I ever did in my whole life. But I went into the corporate world and traveled the world, which was wonderful. I lived in many different places all over the world, including South Africa, a little bit in Australia. In the States, I lived in Utah. I lived in Daytona Beach and so forth and so forth. Anyway, cut a long story short, when I finished my corporate world, the corporate world was kind of a little bit against older people, and I was getting old. So I thought, what am I gonna do? And I was at a networking event, you know, how you go to try to get a new job or decide what you're gonna do. And a young lady came up to me and she says, "I just love your accent." To which, of course, I replied, "I don't have an accent. You have the accent." That was here in Atlanta. But that set me on course to do some studying, to do some courses here in speaking, voiceovers, audiobooks that I've done. But the passion that, I'll be honest with you, God laid on my shoulders 9 years ago was, remember the acting classes that I gave you when you were a young man? Use them. So I decided to start visiting memory care units, assisted living, churches, hospitals, kids' schools, etc., and do what I call expressive reading. Now, when I was doing Shakespeare's plays in my teen years, I could remember the lines. At my age, I can't remember the lines, so I have to read. Expressive is, you see my face is messing around, and sometimes I do things with my hands. That's called expressive reading. So occasionally I'll be looking down, so I apologize for that. So the rest of the story is that I live now in Woodstock. I've been married since 2004 to my, well, we won't go into that anyway, to my final wife. Let's put great wife I have. And she had a lot of things she wanted to do, meeting me as she did on Match.com. She wanted a man who did a lot of different things and had a lot of this and had a lot of that. The one thing she really wanted was a handyman. I am no handyman. I am the worst procrastinating do-it-yourselfer you could ever imagine. I mean, if I'm up a ladder, we're both the same actually, but if I'm up a ladder, I'll drop the nails. If I'm up a ladder, I'll drop the hammer. If I'm down under the toilet, I'll get stuck, which is what I did not very long ago when I was putting a valve in there. Anyway, I'm just so bad at that, and so bad. Open a box with new things, read the instructions, I'll still get it wrong. And I put off all that stuff. My lovely wife in 2006, wrote this little story, which I think you'll understand. Maybe you all remember Tim the Toolman and Bob Vila in what was it called? Home Improvement or something like that. Anyway, I am the opposite of them. And she wrote this about me. Neil the Toolman, written by my wife. Here we go. Neil the Toolman, he's really great. He fixes things if we'll just wait. Procrastinating the jobs at hand, handyman tasks he cannot stand. We prepare ourselves for his fuse to blow, for his cork to pop, for his nerves to go. He huffs, he puffs and cusses too. He yells, he swells, even yells at you. He drops a hammer, he throws a screw, he bumps his head and elbows too. He pines, he whines, he spits a nail. He screams, this job is a pain in the tail. Standing back, we hold our breath. He's finally in the final stretch. We hope and pray it works just right. We can bear no more of his bark or his bite. The time has come to try it out. Standing by, in our minds we shout, oh, please, dear God, please let it work, or else he'll really go berserk. Tenuously, he begins his quest to see if his work will pass the test. He turns it on, and then voila, he jumps for joy. I'm done, ta-da. So when a household project must be done, we all know Neil won't be much fun. But in the end, when the sun comes up, Neil's skills shine through. Or is it just dumb luck? So that's a little bit about me now that you know what I can do and what I can't do. My voice is much better than anything that I can do with my hands. When I go into a new property, an assisted living or whatever it might be, I always start with what I call the silly stories for children of all ages. And in a way, you know, we all have children's hearts, even when we get older. So I do a number of stories by Shel Silverstein. I'm sure some of you have read Shel Silverstein to your grandchildren. And I always start with my favorite. And this is where you get to hear one of my many voices. This is a story called Sick. And it's about a little girl who did not want to go to school. I cannot go to school today, said little Peggy Ann McKay. I have the measles and the mumps, a gash, a rash, and purple bumps. My mouth is wet, my throat is dry. I'm going blind in my right eye. My tonsils are as big as rocks. I've counted 16 chicken pox. There's one more. That's 17. And don't you think my face looks green? my leg is cut. My eyes are blue. It might be instamatic flu. I cough and sneeze and gasp and choke. I'm sure that my left leg is broke. My hip hurts when I move my chin. My belly button's caving in. My back is wrenched. My ankle's sprained. My appendix pains each time it rains. My nose is cold. My toes are numb. I have a sliver in my thumb. Oh, my neck is stiff. My voice is weak. I hardly whisper when I speak. My tongue is filling up my mouth. I think my hair is falling out. My elbow's bent. My spine ain't straight. My temperature is 108. My brain is shrunk. I cannot hear. Oh, there is a hole inside my ear. I have a hangnail and my heart is... What? What's that? What's that you say? Today is Saturday. I'm going out to play. One of my little voices. Now here's a little boy, and you'll have to be the judge. Another Shel Silverstein story. You have to be the judge of whether you think he was, as the title says, smart or not. My dad gave me a $1 bill 'cause I'm his smartest son, and I swapped it
for 2 shiny quarters, 'cause 2 is more than 1. And then I took the quarters and traded them for Lou for 3 dimes. I guess he don't know that 3 is more than 2. Just then along came old blind Bates, and just 'cause he can't see, he gave me 4 nickels for my 3 dimes, and 4 is more than 3. I took the nickels to Hiram Coombs down at the seed feed store, and the fool gave me 5 pennies for them, and 5 is more than 4. And then I went and showed my dad, and he got red in the cheeks, closed his eyes and shook his head, too proud of me to speak.
Here's another one that could apply to me. It could have been my daughter who wrote this. It was actually Shel Silverstein, but it refers back to the do-it-yourself part of my life, and I think it's a fairly funny one too. It's called "I Wish My Father Wouldn't Try to Fix Things Anymore."
My father's listed everything he's planning to repair. I hope he won't attempt it, for the talent isn't there. He tinkered with the toaster when the toaster wouldn't pop. Now we keep it disconnected, but we cannot make it stop. He fiddled with the blender, and he took a clock apart. The clock is running backward, and the blender will not start. Every window pane he's puttied now admits the slightest breeze. He's half destroyed the furnace. If we're lucky, we won't freeze. The TV set was working, yet he thought he'd poke around. Now the picture's out of focus and there isn't any sound. There's a faucet in the basement that had dripped 1 drop all year. Since he fixed it, we can't find it without wearing scuba gear. Oh, I wish my father wouldn't try to fix things anymore, for everything he's mended is more broken than before. If my father finally fixes every item on his list, we'll be living in the garden, for our house will not exist.
Here's a short little prayer, not perhaps quite what you're thinking of when you hear a prayer. It's called Daily Prayer. Dear Lord, I'm proud to say so far today I've got along all right. I have not gossiped, whined or bragged, or had a single fight. I haven't lost my temper once or criticized my mate. I have not lied, I have not cried, or loudly cursed my fate. So far today, I've not one time been grumpy or morose, not been spiteful, cold or vain, self-centered or verbose. But Lord, I'm going to need your help throughout the hours ahead. So give me strength, dear Lord, for now I'm getting out of bed. This is the last one of the Shel Silversteins, and then we'll have some different kind of humor and a little bit of poetry. This is one of my favorites. I have to drink a little water for this one, and you'll understand why in a moment. For anybody who likes pirate stories, this is about Captain Conniption. He's had a conniption. I'm Captain Conniption, the scourge of the sea. No pirate alive is as fearsome as me. I'm 10 times as tough as the skin of a whale. The sharks cringe in terror wherever I sail. I'm Captain Conniption, the bane of the fleet. I don't wash my face, and I don't wash my feet. I wear a black hat, and I fly a black flag. I'm as bad as can be, though I don't like to brag. When I'm on the deck with my cutlass in hand, the saltiest sailors start sailing for land. They know I'm the nastiest nautical knave, and bold as a brigand is bound to behave. I'm Captain Conniption, and up to no good. You'll soon walk the plank if I think that you should. I'd show you right now how I vanquish a foe.
But I hear my mother calling, so I have to go. Bye-bye.
For a change of pace now, I'd like to read a couple of poems. The first one is a serious one, which I'm sure you all know, and you probably all know it by heart. It's by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in the yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had warned them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. This is a sort of a little inspirational poem by Edgar Guest called See It Through. It's kind of good for our times right now. When you're up against a trouble, meet it squarely, face to face. Lift your chin and set your shoulders, plant your feet and take a brace. When it's vain to try to dodge it, do the best that you can do. You may fail, but you may conquer. See it through. Black may be the clouds about you, and your future may seem grim, but don't let your nerve desert you. Keep yourself in fighting trim. If the worst is bound to happen, spite of all that you can do, running from it will not save you. See it through. Even hope may seem but futile when with troubles you're beset, but remember you are facing just what other men have met. You may fail, but fail still fighting. Don't give up, whate'er you do. Eyes front, head high to the finish. See it through. Now, there's a couple of quotes from your own Mark Twain. I can't do Mark Twain's accent, so but you may know one or two of these. By trying, we can easily learn to endure adversity. Another man's, I mean. The man who is a pessimist before 48 knows too much. If he is an optimist after it, he knows too little. We have not all had the good fortune to be ladies. We have not all been generals or poets or statesmen. But when the toast works down to the babies, we stand on common ground. There is nothing you can say in answer to a compliment. I have been complimented myself great many times, and they always embarrass me. I always feel that they have not actually said enough. Wrinkles should merely indicate where smiles have been. Let us be thankful for the fools, but for them, the rest of us could not succeed. I'm hoping that one or two of you might like the stories of Irma Bombeck. And I do not do Irma Bombeck's voice. I will try to do a lady's voice. And I have a couple of her stories because I really love these stories. This one was written in 1981, in November 29. I read the other day where a woman was grocery shopping, and in trying to reach the last package of frozen broccoli, lost her balance and fell head first into the freezer. A man walking by grabbed her by the ankles, dragged her out, and drove her to the hospital, where she was treated and released. I have to believe that falling in the freezer was not the worst thing. I think the real trauma came when she had to deal with the people who fill out insurance forms.
I can see it now.
Was this an accident?
Yes,
Was there any other way to get the broccoli out of the case?
probably.
Have you gotten broccoli out of the case like this before?
Many times. Mothers know exactly what I'm talking about. Most of the accidents that happen with children border on the bizarre. They never do anything in a conventional way. I always had the kid with the penny shoved up his nose, the arm wedged in a sweeper bag, the lip caught in a mousetrap. Things that everyone told me 30 years from now, I'd laugh at. I'm still waiting. I was only 5 years into child raising when I stopped asking, how in the world could something like this happen? After a while, I fully accepted strange happenings and prepared myself to defend them while riding to the emergency room.
How did your son split his head open?
He did a swan dive into 2 feet of water.
You can't do that.
Right, yeah. I used to watch nurses at the desk who would try to jam got pant leg caught in mixer onto an insurance form, or cut tongue while hiding Fort Apache soldier set from cereal box in his mouth to annoy brother, and wonder what some of the other insurance claims read like. I'd surely love to have seen their faces when a woman reported recently that her buttocks were lodged in an emergency exit when she was in the restroom of a bus and the bus swerved, forcing her right into the window. Can't you hear them asking at the hospital?
Was this your assigned seat? Here's another favorite of mine by Irma. This is from a book here that I've got. This is Forever Irma. This is really a favorite. I hope you like this one. It's called Consolidating Cereal, Ice Cream, Cookies, etc. Written in 1974 when her kids were pilly.
I poured myself a bowl of cereal this morning, and out dropped the weirdest array of raisins, flakes, oats, puffs, and squares I have ever seen. What you call this? I asked one of the kids. Frosted, fortified, cracked, cran-bran flakes. I dropped my spoon and slumped. Oh, don't tell me. Your father is on his annual crusade to consolidate all the empty boxes cluttering up the cupboards into one box. Right, said my son. If you think the cereal tastes rotten, you should dip it into the ice cream. He found 6 cartons, each with a different flavour, and each with a different, and he put a spoonful left in each box, put them into one bucket. It looks like someone spit up at Howard Johnson. Oh, please, I cautioned, no more. Not only that, he mixed all the cookies left lying around into one bag, and every time you reach in, there's like trick or treat. You don't know if you're getting something baked this year or last. Oh, I'll speak to him, I said. I found their father in the bathroom, trying to siphon a cap of toothpaste into another tube. I want to talk with you, I said.
If it's about the jellies being mixed together into one jar, I think you'll find the flavour rather interesting.
It's not just the jellies, I said. You're becoming paranoid about empty boxes.
What's wrong with that? He asked.
You're making skeptics out of the children. They don't believe in anything anymore. They grabbed a box marked pretzels off the shelf the other night and sank their teeth into banana-flavoured corn chips.
The banana corn chips weren't moving in their box head.
That's not the point. You do it with everything. Mother asked for an aspirin. I gave her one of the pills you mix together in one bottle. I didn't know if it would cure her headache, sweeten her breath, dry up her cold, put her to sleep, make her regular again, or control birth. I can't go on living with a man who grafts soap together in the soap dish and puts cake colouring in old shampoo and pours it into herbal shampoo bottles.
Oh, go on out and have your cereal, he said softly. You'll feel better after breakfast.
I checked the dog's food supply. The box was full.
I felt better anyway. So here's, I hope you're all enjoying this. Here's another one where I do, on special days, I have special voices. And obviously I do a lot of Halloween. I do a sort of a helper for Santa during the Santa Claus season. I dress up and so forth. But on St. Patrick's Day, we change over to a number of Irish stories. And I hope there are no Irish people here, because it paints the Irish as not being necessarily all that bright. And I know a lot of Irish people who are bright, but these are stories about some that were not. This is called Two Irishmen Meet a Swiss Tourist. A Swiss man on holiday in Dublin needed directions. He was standing outside Davy Byrne's pub when he saw two youths walking by. So he stops them and asks, "Entschuldigen, können Sie Deutsch sprechen?" The two lads look at each other blankly and stare back at him. Excusez-moi, parlez-vous français? He tries. The two continue to stare. Parla Italiano? Still absolutely no response from the two lads. Habla usted español? The Dublin lads remain totally silent. The Swiss guy walks off, extremely disappointed and downhearted that he had not been understood. One of the boys turns to the second and says, "You know, maybe we should learn a foreign language ourselves." "Why?" says the youth. "That guy knew 4 languages and it didn't do him any good." Here's another little one. Father O'Malley answers the phone.
"Hello, is this Father O'Malley?" "It is." "This is the Inland Revenue Service Income Tax Department. Can you help us?" "I can." "Do you know a Ted Houlihan?" "I do." "Is he a member of your congregation?" "He is." "Did he donate €10,000 to the church?" "He will."
This is one called The Last Word.
"I met a man the other day named Flanagan, and I said, 'Oh, you're a happy man.' He said, 'I am.' I said, 'Why?' 'Well,' he said, 'the income tax people have been after me for 20 years, driving me mad to get money out of me. Oh, driving me crazy with worry. But this morning I got a letter from them, and it said, "Final notice." Thank God I won't be hearing from them again." This is a little story, short one for Irish. You can't believe everything you read in the papers. Dermot McCann opened the morning newspaper and was dumbfounded to read in the obituary column that he had died. He quickly phoned his best friend Riley. "Did you see the paper?" asked Dermot. "They say I died." "Yes, I saw it," replied Riley. "Where are you calling from?"
Next one is called No Hiding Place. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. I get that. Should give you time. I wish I could hear your laughter. That's what I'm used to when I do this live to people. I have to laugh to myself. Well, at least I can see Dawn laughing. That's one thing. So this one's called No Hiding Place.
Walking into the bar, Seamus said to O'Hare, the bartender, "Oh, pour me a stiff one. Just had another fight with the little woman." "Oh, bejabers," said O'Hare. "And how did this one end?" "When it was over," Seamus replied, "she came to me on her hands and knees." "Really?" cried O'Hare. "Now that's a switch. What did she say?" "She said, 'Come out from under the bed, Seamus, you little chicken.'"
This one is a sort of an inspirational thing that we all need to hear from time to time. It's called It's Up to You. One song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey. One word start each prayer. When hope will raise our spirits, one touch can say you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what's true. One life can make a difference. You see, it's up to you. And here's another little short one, little inspirational. It's called Learning How to Write in the Sand. Two friends were walking through the desert. In a specific point of the journey, they had an argument and one friend slapped the other one in the face. The one who got slapped was hurt, but without anything to say, he wrote in the sand, "Today my best friend slapped me in the face." They kept on walking until they found an oasis where they decided to take a bath. The one who got slapped and hurt started drowning, and the other friend saved him. When he recovered from the fright, he wrote on a stone, "Today my best friend saved my life." The friend who saved and slapped his best friend asked him, "Why, after I hurt you, you wrote in the sand, and now you write on a stone?" The other friend, smiling, replied, "When a friend hurts us, we should write it down in the sand, where the winds of forgiveness get in charge of erasing it away. And when something great happens, we should engrave it in the stone of the memory of the heart, where no wind can erase it." I have here a couple of, I guess you'd call them finance and money, something we're all short of, I guess, right now, but just a couple of silly little stories. Customer: "Oh, your watches seem so cheap. Only $20? How much does it cost to make them?" Shopkeeper: "Well, they cost me $20 to make them." Customer: "But if it costs $20 to make these watches, and you sell them for $20, where does your profit come in?" Shopkeeper: "Well, that comes from repairing them." A young college co-ed came running in tears to her father. "Oh, Dad, you gave me some terrible financial advice." "I did? What did I tell you?" said the dad. "You told me to put my money in that big bank, and now that big bank is in trouble." "What are you talking about? That's one of the largest banks in the state," he said. "There must be some mistake." "I don't think so," she sniffed. They just returned one of my checks with a note saying insufficient funds." There was a young man, he was having some money problems and needed $200 to get his car fixed and roadworthy again, but had run out of people to borrow from. So he calls his parents via the operator and reverses the charge and says to his dad, "I need to borrow $200. At the other end, his father says, "Sorry, can't hear you, son. I think maybe a bad line." The boy shouts, "200! I need $200! "Sorry, still can't hear you clearly," says his father. The operator cuts in. "Sorry to butt in, but I can hear him perfectly." The father says, "Oh, good. You send him the money." Here's a couple of very short ones, kind of interesting. The most successful investor of all time was Noah. He floated stock while everything around him went into liquidation. The most successful female investor was Pharaoh's daughter. She went to the Nile bank and floated a profit. I saw a bank that said it offered 24-hour banking, but I didn't go in. I didn't have that much time. A long-term investment is a short-term investment that failed. The market is weird. It really is. I mean, every time one guy sells, another one buys, and they both think they're pretty smart. I don't get it. If you can count your money, you don't have $1 billion. Now, on the stock market today, here's what I heard. I heard that helium was up, feathers were down, paper was stationary, knives were up sharply, pencils lost a few points, hiking equipment was trailing, elevators rose, while escalators continued a slow decline. Light switches were off, mining equipment hit rock bottom, diapers remained unchanged, shipping lines stayed at an even keel, balloon prices were inflated, and batteries exploded in an attempt to recharge the market. A little water, give me. Okay, I think we're going back to one of what I call the silly ones, but maybe we need a silly one instead of not a silly one. It's called The Turkey Shot Out of the Oven. It's one of my favorite Thanksgiving stories. The turkey shot out of the oven and rocketed into the air. It knocked every plate off the table and partly demolished a chair. It ricocheted into a corner and burst with a deafening boom and splattered all over the kitchen, completely obscuring the room. It stuck to the walls and the windows. It totally coated the floor. There was turkey attached to the ceiling, where there'd never been turkey before. It blanketed every appliance. It smeared every saucer and bowl. There wasn't a way I could stop it. That turkey was out of control. I scraped and I scrubbed with displeasure and thought with chagrin as I mopped that I'd never again stuff a turkey with popcorn that hadn't been popped. Here's a little short one. It's called Listen to Your Doctor. And I'm sure we all do, but well, you'll see. Morris, an 82-year-old man, went to the doctor to get a physical. A few days later, the doctor saw Morris walking down the street with a gorgeous young woman on his arm. A couple of days later, the doctor spoke to Morris and said, "You're really doing great, aren't you?" And Morris replied,
Just doing what you said, Doc. Get a hot mama and be cheerful.
The doctor said, "I didn't say that. I said you've got a heart murmur. Be careful." Oh. This is called I Hope You Get Better. A retired man who volunteers to entertain patients in nursing homes, not me, and hospitals, went to one local hospital in Brooklyn and took his portable keyboard with him. He told some jokes and sang some funny songs at patients' bedsides. When he finished, he said in farewell, "I hope you all get better." One elderly gentleman replied, "Hope you get better too." Now, I'm going to do a little surprise thing. What's the time? Oh, I've still got some time here. Let's see. I'll do this one. Slight inspirational again. Very important at this time of year when we're all feeling a little overstressed with this COVID thing. It's called Don't Quit. Don't Quit. And like so many others, it comes from one of the many chicken soup for the soul, not soul for the soup, chicken soup. Yeah, well, that's a good one too. It's called Don't Quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up, though the pace seems slow. You might succeed with another blow. Often the goal is nearer than it seems to a faint and faltering man. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when you're hardest hit. It's when things seem worst that you mustn't quit. And now I am going to do something very special for you. And I'm going to go off camera for a moment and explain something to you. Actually, I'll explain it first. One of my heroes is Sir Winston Churchill. I was in London. I lived in London at the time of his passing, and I had the great privilege of being one of the thousands and thousands of people who went by his catafalque, his coffin, in the Westminster Abbey. He was an incredible man. There are some people who say he drank too much. Yeah, maybe he did a little bit. But what I'd like to do is tell you some stories that hopefully will make you smile. They're from Sir Winston Churchill. Just hold on a moment. I'm going to move this. You'll understand in a moment. Just look at my notice board over there. Look at my notice board. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have a few stories for you as Winston Churchill. I don't have my bow tie on because it's the evening and I've had a couple of whiskeys. So people say that I'm drunk. It's just that I occasionally slur my words just a little bit. But there are a couple of stories I'd like to share with you. The first one is a large lady on the other side of the political aisle, old Bessie Braddock. She came up to me after lunch one day and she said, "Sir, you are drunk." I replied, "Madam, you are ugly. In the morning, I shall be sober." Then there was another story about a lady called Nancy Astor, very privileged lady, a very haughty kind of person, aristocratic, if you like. And one day, after an evening cocktail, and of course I had a couple, obviously, because food and drink is good for me, always has been. Nancy Astor said to me,
"Sir, if you were my husband, I would give you poison."
I replied, "If I were your husband, I would take it." You may recall during the war, Neville Chamberlain, appeased, came back with a little piece of paper from Munich, and he was called the appeaser. And what I think an appeaser is as follows. I think an appeaser is one who feeds a crocodile, hoping it will eat him last. A fanatic is a different one. A fanatic, you may know some fanatics, I know, is one who can't change his mind and won't change the subject. Once in a while, we all stumble on the truth, but most of us manage to pick ourselves up and hurry along as if nothing had happened. If you're going to go through hell, keep going. And here's another one. I used to say this in the House of Commons a lot when I was speaking, and there were many people. I used to say, don't interrupt me while I'm interrupting. If you have an important point to make, don't try to be subtle or clever. Use a pile driver. Hit the point once, then come back and hit it again, then hit it a third time, a tremendous whack. Here's something that I've sort of come back from the grave to say. It relates a little bit, I guess, to I'll let you figure out what situation and what this might mean. This is what I said. Everyone is in favor of free speech. Hardly a day passes without its being extolled. But some people's idea of it is that they are free to say what they like. But if anyone else says anything back, that is an outrage. Think about it. All right, I hope I don't offend you Americans now, but here's an interesting one that I said at the time. You can always count on Americans to do the right thing after they've tried everything else. History, be kind to me, or I intend to write it. A pessimist, she's a clever one. Listen carefully. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. I am easily satisfied by the very best. A politician, this applies, I think, to all politicians. Politician needs the ability to foretell what is going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year, and to have the ability afterwards to explain why it didn't happen. And here is my own motto. Success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. I have come to the end of my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed this. I have a whole Winston Churchill program where I also do, we will fight them on the beaches, we will fight them in the hills, and I do a lot of the wartime speeches, which of course are not funny, but I have many more funny ones too. So if you want me back as Winston Churchill, I would totally dress up for you. And then we would be able to go like this. And oh no, I better not do that because I've only got my shorts on. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Did I get a few laughs there?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah,
Glad you
you
enjoyed it.
did.
Hey Neil, I just want to say your energy is so great. I was like amazed of that, and I thought that when you said you want to drink something, when I saw that black glass, I thought it was Guinness is the energy coming from. So I guess
Yeah.
it's really water. It's not Guinness, but I thought for a second it was Guinness in your
Yes.
cup.
Well, let me tell you just a personal story. When I've had a very long day, which I think you said you had at the beginning of the day, I say to my wife, whatever time of the afternoon it is, I say, I think it's wine o'clock now.
Yeah. I like that.
I agree, Neil. Thank you very much.
There you go. You got the wine. I'm going to go get some now too. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll ask her later.
Thank you.
Dawn, I think you were on mute.
You're on mute, Dawn. Yeah,
Here I am, going
there
on.
you go.
Great
I know.
Did everybody but me. Okay, well, you did a fantastic job. I can't thank you enough, and I totally,
Thank you.
Good.
Christian got it. Your energy was fantastic. We all thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was really nice to have the variance of the things that you provided. So thank you
Be
so,
very happy to come back again anytime.
and we love it.
Thank you.
Love it. You definitely deserve a good drink now. So
Absolutely. You got that right. Thank you, everybody.
good night, everybody. Enjoy your
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.